Let's take snippets from the life of Elon Musk. And why is everybody talking about Elon Musk? Richard Branson, the English business tycoon, says, "It's a paradox that Elon is working to improve our planet at the same time he is building spacecraft to help us leave it." What's special about Elon Musk? At 49 years of age, he's become the world's richest person. Recently, first week of Jan 2021. He's not had it easy. He has had to work his way up. So let's see how his life panned out. His field of work is extensive and some of his interests are in unusual industries. He is an inventor, innovator, imaginative business entrepreneur. And now let's have a look at those industries which hold his current interests, both personal and financial. SpaceX makes space rockets. Tesla Motors makes cars under the brand name Tesla. Solar City, solar energy projects. Let's have a look into his childhood and early career. He was born in June 1971 in South Africa, later migrated to Canada and as adult became a US national. Studious child, always buried in books, and his time was 10 hours per day. Was it easy being a child? Well, no. He was bullied throughout his childhood, including being thrown down a flight of stairs and beaten unconscious. Among the books that enchanted him, he was actually addicted to them, science fiction, and when it was non-fiction, Britannica Encyclopedia. He did not much fancy classroom education. He felt that school education just was downloading of data and algorithms. He got all his knowledge from reading. At the age of 9, he was presented a computer. How to program. The guide, which was to take 6 months, he mastered in 3 days, to the extent that the basic language which was explained in that guide, he learned it well enough to develop a video game called Blaster using BASIC. At $500 in those times, as a teen, he was still in school, he sold it to a computer magazine. So he showed his business streak at that time itself. On leaving college, he went on to create a software company with his younger brother, developing software on the internet as an attractive alternative to the yellow pages. Remember, we used to look it up for details and addresses of businesses and utility services. When internet was just picking up, he thought of an alternative to yellow pages. Now let's trace his career. He started PayPal, which was an online banking and payments company. Later on, the banking arm was made dysfunctional. And that was a time in the 1990s when you wouldn't think of giving your credit numbers to an unknown person. But he thought it up, PayPal. He thought, after PayPal, what are some of the other problems that are likely to most affect the future of humanity, and not from the perspective of what's the best way to make money? And that's when he thought of SpaceX to make space rockets at a reduced cost for space travel, and one of its intentions later on would be to make travel viable to Mars, and also to make first vegetation on Mars and then human habitation on Mars. Tesla Motors was a company already in operation. He joined this company with his investment and with his ideas. He strengthened them, and his tips would always be, his suggestions would always be to manufacture energy efficient cars. So the cars were already there. Good looks had to be there, design had to be there, but added to that was energy saving. The same company also to make batteries. for making electrical energy affordable on one side, and for home users, solar panels to provide and store energy, and that energy would be clean, renewable, cost effective. So the same homes would also have electrical energy being utilized inside. So you see, it was a win-win situation for the business, for his business. Solar city, solar energy projects for domestic and industrial use. And then he used side by side his funds for the welfare of people to harness energy through his Musk Foundation. They use their funds to help people affected by natural disasters. Now let's see, from whatever is known, what all are still the ideas brewing in his mind, so that we can see those take shape in future. Because whatever he planned, he always executed, however far-fetched it might seem when it first comes about. Hyperloop, the idea of which he first mooted at a web conference in 2011. Innovations in public transportation, a high-speed system which rides in a cushion of air. So this mode of public transportation would be cheap, would be faster than air travel, would be irrespective of weather conditions. At the same time, it would reduce congestion and traffic pollution. His interest in space includes exploring extraterrestrial life. What concerns Musk is not extraterrestrial life, but the threat posed to humanity by artificial intelligence, which he described as the most serious threat to the survival of the human race. He's concerned about the lack of regulatory oversight over it. These days, in the first half of Jan 2021, he's very visible in the media with his views on alternatives to the WhatsApp messaging services, giving his suggestions for what he thinks is best. His personal life hasn't been rosy either. A son, his first son, died within 10 weeks from birth, and suddenly, while asleep. 2 failed marriages, and of course several failures in his space projects, so much so that in SpaceX 3 rockets were fired. All 3 failed. The 4th rocket launch, if that had also failed, his personal funds and his integrity would all be ruined. He took that extra chance. Now let's have a look at his skills. Thinking outside the box, but of course, foreseeing project opportunities and beginning to implement them much before the slightest signs of possibilities were visible. Risk-taking, but of course, leadership and delegation, yes. Excellent marketing skills. Besides, he always seeks negative feedback, particularly from friends. He says, find everything what's wrong with it and fix it. So be extra rigorous about making the best possible thing you can. So let's learn what else he himself says. So his quotations, let's just see what they are. His mantra, he had a BSc in physics and BA in economics, that's all. PhD 2 days into the course, and he left it because the lure of Silicon Valley was too much. But his mantra, physics is a good framework for thinking. Boil things down to their fundamental truths and reason up from there. Again, what determines success is not your qualifications, where you were born, or how much money you have. Instead, it is how you choose to see the world, your openness to ideas, and how you respond to opportunities and challenges when you are faced with them. He's failed quite a lot of times. Failure is an option here. If things are failing, you are not innovating enough. And yes, he innovated and kept on. Even his mind always keeps on thinking. He's still in that world of science fiction from those young days. And I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary, which he did for himself. I hope this video has been extremely motivational and inspirational for you. He's a living legend and we can learn from him.